This is a machine that I've been anticipating listing for some time now, and coincidentally had just gotten an email about the next machines that I was going to be listing. And that particular buyer said, well, I found another Elgin on the internet, on eBay. It's a model S1145. Is that the same as the machine that you told me that you're going to be listing next? I said, no. This Elgin, and you may have already gathered because the camera has come out to reveal that we have the King of Sweden out here again. And that's because certain Elgin models, this one in particular, were made by Viking. And you already know the story of the King of Sweden decreeing the plant that eventually started making the Husqvarna Viking machines. That's why I've got him out, just to emphasize the point that this machine was made by Viking, not imported from Japan like a lot of the other Elgins out there. So with that, I'm going to get rid of the King of Sweden so you can see more of this machine. And I will start by telling you that this machine, again, from a weight standpoint and from an engineering standpoint, is truly a Viking style machine because it was made by Viking. It's as heavy as the heaviest of machines that we've listed. So the engineering is extremely impressive on this machine as I went through it. This machine, as we come over to the right side of the machine, was born back in 1958. Comes with a 1.3 amp motor. So this is going to be a lot of fun to show you heavy duty sewing with. Let's start on this side of the machine, right over here by this spool pin. This spool pin is obviously for winding a bobbin. You're going to put your spool of thread right here. You're going to come through this thread tension control area right here and up to the bobbin winding wheel. To engage it, all you do is push this so it makes contact with that hand wheel. And to give you an initial hearing of this machine and hear some of that 1.3 amp power, let me step on the foot control right now as if we're simulating actually winding a bobbin. Now I'm telling you one thing, that only gives you a glimpse of what this machine can deliver from a heavy duty standpoint. Once that bobbin is full, it's going to be pushing up on there and will probably just disengage automatically. That's the feature design. Feature designs work probably about 90% of the time. Otherwise you can just push it up as I did. Now if we drop down to this area right here, this is a control center for a number of different things. It's going to obviously give you easy access to reverse sewing. You simply push this big button in. You're going to be able to sew in reverse. You release it when you want to resume sewing forward. It's also going to give you stitch length control. Now the stitch length variation on this is comparable to the Viking Husqvarna models that we listed recently. It's going to give you a range of approximately 5 stitches per inch all the way down to 30 stitches per inch. It's also going to allow you to control the feed dog feature. You can see right now they're fully up. If you want to sew on lighter materials and not have them dig into that material, you can move it very easy to the silk range, or you can drop them all the way down. And then when you want to resume sewing, just move them back up to that up position again. Now let me show you an example of an applique that we did on this machine that really demonstrates the full scope of that stitch length. And you can see these quilted regions, if the camera is nice and tight, those are not painted, they're not anything other than sewn. And you can see a full scope of that stitch length through there, anything from on the outer edges, probably pretty close to 5 to 6 stitches per inch, to the inner portions, almost all the way down to that 30 stitch per inch range. But as I've said before, the final representation gives you an idea of the creative side of what this amazing Viking-made Model 2468 can do. And you're just as capable of doing this because of the quality and the caliber of this machine. So with a little bit of creative spark and a machine of this quality, you can expect projects like this even if you're a beginning sewer or a fairly novice sewer. And we're always there as a resource as well, along with an instruction manual. We always go out of our way to provide an instruction manual, not something that's stapled together as I've seen some sellers do. I think that's kind of tacky. We either include an original one or a reprint, as you see here, and then we get it professionally bound so it's a resource to you. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned up to this point is this Elgin made by Viking is all about heavy duty, and you'll see that in the various sew-offs. But it also has a wide range of decorative utility stitches. Let me open this instruction book and give you an initial glimpse of some of those sewing designs. And we're going to be including all the cams that will allow you to generate this wide range of 24 decorative utility stitches. As a matter of fact, if I can reach across real quick, excuse me getting in the camera, I'm going to show you the actual cams themselves, because at the end of this introductory video, we're going to be doing a sew-off to demonstrate that decorative feature. And I've already inserted this particular cam that's missing. I believe it's going to be cam 4. And that's not as good as it gets. Look underneath here. There's another entire row of additional decorative cams that you can utilize in this model 2468. So I'm going to set this to the side just for now, because again, we've already inserted that cam to try to get a little bit ahead of the game. So again, if I lift this book up, you can get an idea of the wide range of decorative type sewing that you can do with this machine as well. Again, it has that Viking engineering, so any of you that are just strictly heavy duty, industrial strength is what you're looking for, this machine with that 1.3 amp motor can really deliver the goods when it comes to heavy duty. But it also has all of these for you quilters and others that might like that decorative utility side as well. So we're including this. Don't have to go out and spend 15 bucks, or sometimes I've seen this particular machine manual listed for as much as $30. We're including it free of charge. Now, I mentioned those decorative stitches. This is just a quick little sew-off that we did. I'm going to get rid of that thread. Quick little sew-off, giving you a quick glance of some of the stitch output of what this machine can do. Now, take into account, depending on where that stitch length is set, you might get an entirely different look. So the stitch length variation will give you even a wider range of decorative utility type stitches that you can generate with this machine. All right, back to the machine. If you follow me right up to this area right here, and I'm not going to be demonstrating this, but this has a real nice 4-stage buttonholer. By simply starting on stage 1 and sewing that section of the buttonhole off, making sure the needle is in the up position and clear of the material, you then simply click this over to stage 2, sew that portion of the buttonhole, make sure that needle again is in the up position, clear of the material, go to stage 3, and so on and so forth. It does it so easily. If you need buttonholes, you can do it in just a matter of seconds, much quicker than I just tried to explain it. Okay, right over here you can see we've got all of those sewing designs. Elgin, again, being made by Viking. Viking is very smart about trying to make a machine as user-friendly as possible. Puts those designs right on the front so that you can readily decide as you're doing those decorative excuse me, sew-offs which one you want to select from those cams. And again, it just takes a matter of seconds. I'm going to kind of rotate the machine forward a little bit for the camera. This is obviously the door on top to access that cam. You can see that cam is already inserted, and as with any cam, it's very simple to slide it into position. The only thing you're going to have to remember to do once you put that cam in is you have to go from a stitch width of 5. Now that's the interesting thing, is normally you would set your stitch width to control the output of that cam. With this machine, it's all generated by the cam. So you set it on 5 to insert the cam where it is right now, and then you're going to move that stitch width all the way back to 0. This will stay on M when you're doing a decorative utility type stitch. And your stitch length, right now I have it on 5, where we're going to be doing most of those heavy duty sew-offs. We're going to move it for decorative purposes from 5 all the way down to about 0.5. And this is as good of a time as any. I have to keep leaning in front of the camera. I apologize for that. But this is as good of a time as any to demonstrate that cam output. So I've got my material here. Follow me down to the needle, and I'm going to go ahead and slide this underneath the presser foot. Get that into position. All right, the presser foot is down, and let's go ahead and sew off that cam generated stitch. Again, it's only one of 24. All right, here we go. Well, I don't know about you, what you can hear as far as the YouTube video, but here, right next to the machine, that is about as quiet as you can get for sewing off at that stitch level. You can see right here, here's that pattern again. If you make modest adjustments to the stitch length, not the stitch width. Remember again, for this machine, when you're sewing these cam generated stitches, you want to have that stitch width on 0 after you've inserted the cam. Again, you start with it on 5, insert the cam, go to 0. And all of this is in the book, so don't say, oh my gosh, I got to remember all that. It's very simple. So this is our stitch output for, I believe it was cam number 4 again. You can see a picture perfect lock-in as well. It's just a wonderful Viking engineered sewing machine. It's just wonderful. I love this Elgin. Okay, so you saw the decorative output of this. Let me talk a little bit about actually threading this machine now. You can see if the camera is back near the top again, and I'll rotate it forward a little bit to make it easier again. We obviously have the 2 spool pins, which tells you right away this Elgin model 2468. And I'm not making that up. It's actually model 2468. I guess the Swedish Viking people have a little bit of a sense of humor too. This obviously tells you that this machine is capable of doing dual needle sewing. You could also potentially wind a bobbin from back here as well, but the book recommends winding it from the front. So coming off of the main feed, we're going to come across the back. We've got a thread guide here. You're coming through the highest point of that. Here again, you've got an additional thread guide coming again through the highest point. You're coming right past the bench branding mark of Elgin, down through the tension control area, over that tension control spring. You're coming underneath this thread guide, and again, all of this is in the book, so don't panic. It's not really that complicated. I'm going to open the front of the machine, the faceplate, so you can see that our thread comes through this additional thread guide that's on the inside, down to here. And this also, being able to open like this, obviously gives you very easy access to certain oiling points on the machine as well. So let me close that again. Listen to that. I mean, we're talking all metal here, not to mention a cool red light if you're in the red lights. And that's simply indicating that our sewing light is on right now. If I push it off, it's obviously going to go off, but that's how you turn the sewing light on and off with that easy access button on the front of the faceplate. And as we come down towards the needle, you're going to be threading this machine from left to right, and the thread then is going to come right underneath here. You've got a lot of clearance, and you also have an additional hyperextension as well to be able to get additional clearance as you're coming through the needle. Now, what else can I tell you about this machine apart from it's engineered by Viking? It's got a 1.3 amp motor, just a little bit less than the green machines that we've listed recently. Actually, it has 0.3 more than the last green machine we listed, the model 19E. So it's all about heavy duty sewing, it's all about power, and it has that wonderful Viking engineering. Make sure you check out our other videos as well, where we demonstrate the super heavy duty industrial side of this Viking engineered Elgin model 2468.